This is the Reporter's Notebook, hosted by Elaine Shane.
Welcome to this entry in the DTN Reporter's Notebook. DTN Senior Ag Meteorologist Bryce Anderson joins us today as we look at the winter weather outlook. Bryce, how strong is El Niño's influence looking?
Well, it's going to be pretty much all over the forecast, Elaine, because El Niño in the Pacific is the strongest one since the late 1990s. And because of that, the imprint of it, whether it be for moisture in the far west or in the southern plains or for dry and warm conditions in the Midwest, is pretty much going to be a big feature.
What about the general Midwest trends?
I think that we're going to see a very typical happening with El Niño, and that is that the Midwest is going to be mostly in between the jet stream tracks. We're going to have a jet stream over the southern part of the U.S., and then there will be the polar jet that kind of gets pushed way off over eastern Canada, Ontario and Quebec, and then into northern New England. And so with the Midwest in between, that means basically a pretty placid pattern, mild temperatures, and a fair amount of dryness, actually, for the season.
So what are you expecting for the wheat areas of the Southern Plains?
I think that the Southern Plains has a pretty good chance of coming out of the winter with good moisture. And that's going to be helpful for the crops, obviously, for the wheat. There could be a couple of little wrinkles in that, though, that I think are worth noting. First of all, there could be some ice storm occurrences that may actually be stressful to wheat because of ice and the accumulation around the crown of the plant. That's a little bit of a problem that could cause some damage. And then for feedlots in the Southwest, if it gets too wet and muddy, that's not going to be good for livestock. But in general, it is going to be a fairly wet winter and one with below normal temperatures for that region.
Now, we're still seeing some drought in the West. Is that going to ease at all?
It certainly appears that it will. The occurrence of El Niño, along with winter precipitation in California, has a very strong correlation. In fact, since about 1950, the two greatest amounts of winter precipitation in California occurred during some strong El Niño years in 1982-83 and in 1997-98. And so there is a pretty high correlation with that. Now, how long that moisture is going to last in terms of snowfall in the Sierra Nevada mountains is maybe a little bit of a question, but nonetheless, it does appear that the far west is in line for some pretty generous precip this winter.
Thanks, Bryce.
You're welcome.
With Bryce Anderson, I'm Elaine Shane, and that's today's entry in the DTN Reporter's Notebook. Thanks for joining us, and have a good evening from DTN.
This has been the Reporter's Notebook from the DTN Progressive Farmer Newsroom.